I'm Roswell Royce Laurie, and welcome to Cool Folks Who Love to Bachata. Yeah. Wow. All those people that are clapping, I wonder if they really know who I am. But anyway, I'm Roswell Royce Laurie. Okay. And this is the fall edition of going live with members from Cool Folks Who Love the Bachata from all around the world. Yes, so I am blessed to be back. Social media, specifically Facebook, has allowed me to do this for a third time. This is our third season, and I'm super blessed to be here, and it's an honor to bring each and every guest on live with me from wherever they are so they can have the opportunity to share their stories, their journeys, their struggles, their ambition, their goals with you. You know, it's one thing to actually look at a flyer and to see that artist, and to know that he or she has an event. That's all you know about him or her, right? But now you guys get the opportunity to listen to them, right? They come live with me, and it's an experience. It's a learning experience, you know. So I'm just happy to do this. I'm just blessed to be here. I am still here in New York. Still here back home for the summer. It feels like summer, but so I'm hanging out here with my family and doing family stuff. And but I will come back to the South in a few weeks. So I look forward to coming to support your events. Cool folk who love to bachata. So I will be there soon. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the tie and a jacket, but I will be there. Um, Hex Ceballos, is going to join us tonight. And this guy, I've never really met him in person, and it's kind of funny because I've been in Miami. Him and I were just talking about this a couple of minutes ago. I've been in Miami for a while, and I never actually came face to face with this guy, and I'm pretty sure we attended the same events and whatever. So I am honored that I have the opportunity, even though it's virtually, I have the opportunity to go with this guy and to speak with him and to talk. So I'm happy he's joining us. Um, we're gonna have the ladies of Cool Folks Who Love the Bachata go live with me pretty much all October, So we have Janet, we have Kimberly Dance, we have Helena, we have Sarah. It's just kind of funny now I'm thinking about it. For some odd reason, when I ask each and every member, males and females, when can we do this? It's kind of funny. All the guys just arbitrarily say, September is good for them, and all the women say October is good for them. So this would be good for like a gender study. So I just thought about it, but anyway, I'm just happy to have everyone here. Whatever schedule is good for them. I appreciate they're taking the time to meet with me. So thank you in advance, guys, and I appreciate it. Um, I'm gonna bring on Hex, and I forgive me if my voice is fading out. I'm just losing my voice here because the temperature here in New York is changing, so it's getting the best of me. But so I'm gonna try my best to keep my voice on, and while I bring Mr. Ceballos out to speak with you. Okay, Hex, my friend, welcome.
Thank you, Roswell. Thank you for the invite. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to meet you. And I just want to let everyone know ahead of time. Um, I have like a tiny little bit of echo from my end because I'm not computer savvy. So if you guys hear me speaking twice, it's not me. It's maybe, you know, some weird guy from above or whatever. But
Or it's
anyway,
probably my settings. I don't know.
no, blame it on me. I'm just not smart. But I'm just happy to be here, and Hex is happy to be here. So Hex, please, my friend, tell everyone a little bit more about you, if you could, please. Take it away.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Miami. Um, yeah. So I've been, lived here pretty much all my whole entire life. Made a career in architecture and also engineering, and then I also teach at a Miami-Dade College, higher education to students. So basically, just teaching architecture. And then in my dance journey, I started around, I would say maybe 2009, when the scene was a little bit different. Basically, the person that got me into dancing was this friend of mine from long ago. His name was Nelson Fritz, also known as Negrofino. Um, and then started in bachata, salsa, and then samba de gaffiera, around like all three genres at the same time. And then later on in 2015, I went into Brazilian zouk and stayed within that genre till today. And then later on started to explore like other genres and go back into bachata as well.
Okay. Okay. So Hex, you have a background in like what is it, computer simulation, I believe. Um, uh, which is very interesting because I really don't know much about that. So do you?
So my guess is that you're probably seeing like something on Facebook that says like computer simulation. So that was actually a conference that I went to back in 2015, and so it was like the first computational design conference that occurred throughout the world. And I went there because my interest in architecture was computational design. It's basically using the computer to create like a complex form and structure, um, and decided to like, all right, let me just purchase a ticket and go to Germany. And it was like the small town, like probably an hour away from Hamburg.
Oh,
It's like this like place that almost seems like out of Harry Potter. untouched by World War II. Um,
Okay.
this city called Lunenburg, and I went there, and apparently the organizer was of the event was very thrilled to have me and actually have like bragging rights like, wow, a person from Miami just came all the way for my conference. um, and so then they tagged me on Facebook, and for some reason that just stayed on there. That
Okay.
I worked at Mex in Lunenburg.
Have you
But
heard of Dusseldorf
but
by any chance?
I'm sorry.
Dusseldorf. Have you heard of Dusseldorf, Germany by any chance? Dusseldorf.
Düsseldorf, Germany? No, I haven't heard of it, nor have I been there.
My best friend, my friends from college, um, were from Germany.
Mm.
So I had the opportunity to go to a place called Dusseldorf. I know it's a kind of odd name, but Cologne, Frankfurt, maybe it's around there. But yeah, any part of Germany is wonderful. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And it was a learning experience, you know.
Yeah,
So I'm happy that you mentioned Germany of all places, you know, because that's one of the places I visited in Europe. And yeah, so
yeah.
anyway, just wanted to let you know.
It, yeah, I mean, if you ever go to Lunenburg, it's a beautiful city. It's a small town. There's not much to do there. Everything closes around like 7 p.m. But you'll find like little places that's still active during the evening. So um, it's a beautiful city.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Architect. Okay. That's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on Hex and everyone else because stuff like this is not on the postings and flyers and social media. It's like dance stuff. So, by you guys sharing, your whatever other occupations you guys do, it's interesting. So, um, uh, and your careers that you guys do, how it applies to your dance career, it's even more fascinating.
Yeah.
Architect, how ooh, dancing, architect, like me, for example, I just started to do this dance stuff a few years ago. Before that, I was strictly corporate. I'm still a little corporate. I do legal work. I review contracts and stuff. But I was like always like the 9 to 5 person. Go to bed at 10 p.m. Get up by 6 a.m. to go to work. Dancing and all that. And all of a sudden, I said there got to be more to this world than just like 9 to 5 and corporate and all of that stuff. So I began listening to a lot of bachata music and began to go to socials, travel, pretty much on the East Coast to learn different techniques of dancing, like urban and sensual and traditional and etc.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really a corporate guy anymore, you know. But how? I mean, you went from a complete like architect and dancing. It's two different fields, right? So how did you uh, I mean, do you see a similarity or of how the two, you know, works or whatever? Or did you learn to appreciate dancing based upon your experience in architect? I know you mentioned in, designs and stuff that you do. I mean, do you have like for me, for example, I have a little bit more appreciation of doing like legal stuff
Mhm.
because like I learned about contracts. Like
Yeah.
breach of contract if a dancer is like, yeah, I'm not gonna dance with that. Oh, hell, I put you in. So I find that interesting because I'm like, oh wow, so I could understand where these dancers coming from and the legal perspective. So it made me kind of more appreciate the work that I was doing. So so by you focusing on dancing and music and stuff like that, how has that helped you to become more appreciative of the work that you do as an engineer? I mean, engineering field,
As an architect engineer.
architectural engineering. Yes, forgive me, but I had a long day. You know, I had a long day. So yes, that's what I meant. Yes.
So architecture is basically an art and also a science.
Okay.
There's arch as architects, we tend to explore different things, different outlets, and especially that influences us in our work. So
Okay.
that can be music, that can be dance, that can be certain paintings and artworks that we get inspired by. And then that also speaks into the works that we do.
Okay.
Um, you know, and the way that it relates, there's a lot of quotes, especially from famous architects, that they would say that um, architecture is like frozen music. And so there is definitely a relation between music and architecture. And especially if you see how you study the way that people dance, there has architects have done like different studies of just like the movements of people and what it creates, and they would take like snapshots and then freeze it, and they would make different analysis and studies and diagrams, and just to come up with something different for their work in architecture. So there is no separation between the art of dance and the art of architecture. It's they complement each other, I would say.
Com- okay, compliment. Okay, I'm happy you said that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, um, you mentioned also you're a forgive me. I just want to let everyone know that I'm kind of nothing to do with age. I just don't hear very well. I kind of lost my hearing, so I might be asking you, what's that hex? Repeat that. Not that I'm not listening to you, just I really can't hear. So that's my problem. You mentioned you were an instructor. I said, or you work in education, a teacher. I think.
Yes, I'm an adjunct professor at Miami-Dade College, and so I teach college students architecture. Primarily, I teach design, but then lately I've been very focused on design technology, and so just basically teaching the students all the tools that are available to them, tools that were not available during my time, like when I was in grad school or even undergrad. That we were struggling to create something, and sometimes the software just has like limitations, and because of these limitations, you tend to struggle, and then the outcome is not exactly what you were expecting. So now, in 2023, the technology has completely evolved, especially with artificial intelligence and new features to the tools, that I'm just like showing the students like these are all the possibilities that you can do now. You know, it's up to you to learn it, learn the workflow, and then apply it as best as you can to your studies, because you're not going to get in any other opportunity.
So true, and the reason I wanted to bring up education stuff also because I'm in I did my masters and stuff like that, but I'm doing like my dissertation. I'm doing my thesis on healthcare in honor of my dad, who has Alzheimer's, like we spoke about a few minutes ago. So I'm looking at patient care, to see what motivates them, and you know, nurses just don't do it for the money; they do it for other reasons.
Yeah.
Um, so so I'm always fascinated to learn from someone else who's also in the academic field. So that's interesting,
Uh,
and I respect what you just said. And I admire. What I admire the work that you do because you're just not, you know, in the art field. There's other stuff that you do, and it involves the academics.
yeah.
You have an
And it's
influence.
interesting that you say healthcare, because I work on projects that involve healthcare too.
Okay, that's great. That's great. You're multi-talented, man. Multi-talented. So, uh, you you're a DJ at night. I mean, in the nights, you do something totally different, right? You're
Yes.
not. It's like you're not
Not,
Professor Hex.
no, not
You're like the
professor, not
total.
architect, no, no, it's DJ Hex.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, I see your flyers and I see your postings and stuff. It's like I'm like, wow, it's totally different, from a professor type of, so that's great. So, but how do you feel, man, like when you make that transition? Like for me, for example, like around 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. stuff, I take the tie off the jacket and, I wear like bachata stuff and people don't even take me seriously. They think, oh, Russell, stuff. I'm like, yeah, look at my pictures. Look how I look at work, So you can relate to me because, at a certain time of the day, you and I, we go into a different world,
Yeah,
you
it's like we
know?
live double lives.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you feel um, when you're DJing and you're reaching out to people and you make them feel great, the music that you play and stuff like how like I was asking someone this question similar in your field, and they said, they just like look at the person or look at the atmosphere before everything gets crowded. They take like a quick browse or a quick walk just to get the feel of the people, their face expressions, what the time of the day, the temperature, so I just found that interesting. So I just thought this DJ that told me this, I just thought he just goes in there, play his stuff, heck with the world, heck with the people, heck with their expression, go home, but he was telling me he does it, he's from Europe. He's from, I forgot which country, but he was telling me like how he actually gets everything set up, and in my head, I just thought that, oh, okay, I didn't even know that was going on in your head. So, Hex, if I could ask you, please, um, what goes on in your, I mean, what thoughts are going on in your head right before you begin to, can I say, open up the show or begin playing? I mean, do you have an intention, or are you planning to target your audience? Are you planning to, I don't know, like how, I don't know what it's like, bro, because I'm not there. I don't do that, but I could just
Right.
imagine it. So what
So,
actually, yeah, please.
yeah, yeah. So before I begin to play, I just make sure that my music is ready, my equipment is ready, everything is working properly. At times, and making sure that everything is already packed up, ready to go to either one of my events or somebody else's events, like or a festival event, right? I look at logistics in terms of like travel. How much the stuff do I have to carry? Do I have to carry any of like my own personal sounds? And usually for my events, I take my own sound, my own speakers, um, and so I just make sure that I have playing at least have like music that is relevant and current to the times, and then have music that people haven't really heard of yet or haven't really um, you know took an interest to. And the music usually that I play usually is music that have um, most of the songs of just people I've never really heard before. And so I explore different genres, and sometimes like even Bollywood, um, and sometimes Serbian, sometimes Russian. Like go pretty much like multicultural, multi ethnicity, just to like look for different things um, that is relevant for that night, or maybe if there's like a person there that I
Mhm.
know that they're from that specific culture, then I would probably play a song just to kind of recognize the culture that they're part of.
Yeah, no, no, that's interesting. I mean, all types of, Caribbean, Russian. That's great, bro. You're very open, open-minded to everyone and acceptable. So that's,
Um,
I'm happy you said that.
yeah,
That's great.
I'm very big in diversity.
That's great. So
I'm very big on diversity and inclusivity.
that's fantastic. I'm just thinking about a friend of mine. But I'm cool man who loves the bachata, and as you know, Hex, I post videos, and I post these videos. Some videos I post over and over, like people are like, "What? The same video?" I'm not doing it for ratings or YouTube. I just do it because I just love it. So,
Yeah.
and I realized, people, you guys are actually looking at my posters. I thought you guys put me in like the filter folder by now, but you guys are actually looking at what I do.
Hmm.
So there was this one song, I think it was Manuel, uh, uh, um, uh, Tavares, Manuel Tavares, from Colombia. Like, he's recently famous, and he's playing all these cool songs.
Hmm.
Manuel, I can't think of the last name. So that was like my favorite song this past winter. You know, and every time before I go to this special place in Georgia, I post it, but not for the intention for the DJ to play it. But every time I pop up at his event, all of a sudden hear the song. Like, I'm
You
not
hear the song?
joking. Literally, as soon as I walk in, it plays. Like he's trying to tell me something mentally that Roswell, welcome. You
Yeah.
know, and I said, nah, it could be my imagination. So then I did it again, like a week again, and then 2 weeks later, same thing happened. I posted the same song, and I walked in. And all of a sudden, it just started to play. So I said, "Wait a minute, what's going on?" And he's up to this date. He did not tell me if it's true or not. He's one of those
Right.
DJs. Just look at him, and
Just like keep you guessing, right? So
yeah, and he's probably listening to me right now. And so
yeah, I mean, DJs, we pay attention. We pay attention to our people, right? What they like, what they don't like. Um, because as a DJ, we're we service to the community because it's pretty
so
much you're doing it as a service, right? And so you're trying to make sure that everyone is happy, having a good time, that the ambience is good, that the environment is good. And, as DJs, we have a lot of control in that environment, with the music that we play.
yeah, I'm smiling because I'm going to take advantage of this. My cool folks who love the Bachata face. So after we're done with the interview, bro, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna be posting stuff and then showing up at people's events. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, deja vu. How did you know I like that song? No, no, but seriously, I appreciate you guys what you guys do, because that's you guys are not just playing something because you guys like it. You guys are doing it because you want everyone to appreciate it and stuff. And so it takes a lot of work and organization to to be a professional uh, DJ.
Yeah.
So
And
that's something I
yeah, and
admire.
you're always constantly studying to, improve the skills that you have, so that way you're always up to date, always current, and then um, always polishing your skills. As a DJ, I don't think you're ever truly done learning. I think you're always continuing your education in order to improve and to be better. Um, and always like looking for new music, and see how that could apply to the specific genre, or even produce your own for that genre. Um, it's it's always a it's always a constant cycle.
Okay. So it's a little bit about Miami. I miss Miami so much, man. Yeah, we were just talking about it. Yeah, you and I a couple of seconds ago. I moved. I came to Miami because New York was shut down during COVID, and you remember a couple of years ago things were like dead,
Yeah, nothing was ever shut
and
down
no
here.
dancing. I know. I didn't realize that. Okay, check this out. I got so depressed and isolation and whatever, no dancing. I said, God, before I do something to myself, let me just pack up, get out of this place, and head down south. In Miami, I just snapped my finger. I'm like, Miami, I'm just gonna go. I didn't know anyone there. I just bing bang boom, left my job, left everything, just left my family, bang just. And before you know it, I realized you guys, kept it going, and and I just wanted to be on a beach or something, and I didn't realize Miami still had certain parts of Miami still had like workshops and socials and stuff. So I said, wow, I'm going to stay here a little longer. Why go back up north? So that's how I fell in love with Miami, and I became friends with friends of yours, and I began to network, and I grew. Cool Folks Love the Bachata primarily in Miami for that one year that I lived there.
Yeah.
Um, but I miss Miami so much. But how does Miami? You travel a lot, right? I mean, I know you travel a lot. You know, you've seen stuff. How does the? I want to ask you. I'm so tempted to ask you. I keep thinking you're a dancer. Oh, you dance, but I keep thinking you do that more. I was gonna ask you, how does the dance world in Miami compare to like the dance world? You know, any places that you've seen, and um, but yeah, would that be cool? I mean, how does like how do you feel the dance world has grown? Is that a fair question? In regards to bachata, because a lot of people are telling me, this bachata stuff has exploded. Armando and a couple other people that came live with me last week, they're telling me about, oh, Roswell. I go to China, I go to Australia, and like bachata is like top of the top. It's growing and growing, man.
Yeah,
Have you noticed that in
I've
Miami over the years?
I have noticed that bachata definitely has grown, and it's definitely a much bigger scene, um, throughout the United States, and I would think like also pretty big in Europe. Um, I went to a Brazilian Zouk event in Toronto. This was back around like the end of June and July, and so it was like a Zouk marathon. Um, and it was at a studio, Dance Life X. And so on Saturdays they would have like a Zouk social, and then they would also have like a bachata social. And the bachata social was just like filled up completely. It was huge. It was like bigger. It had definitely had a lot more people. Um, and I also noticed that, like, even in the mainstream music, bachata has, has, I would think, take over, has taken over. Um, that as DJs and as dancers, like you can't just like ignore it and say no, and especially we're like from another different genre. It really has, and that is the fact. Um, in terms of like the scene, like how people are. I'm not really sure because I haven't really interacted with those types of scenes. I've only interacted with the ones in Miami, which I would have to say it has changed a lot from like 2009 till
Mhm.
till now. I think like the people are very down to earth.
I'm happy you said diverse because one of the guests that came live with me recently, I asked a similar question to him, and his response sort of like where you left off with diverse. And I said, what? I said, sir, what do you think? What do what do you think could have caused that explosion here or something? He said the support, that support from where the diverse, the diversity of people.
Yep.
And I didn't think about that because I just said, you know, I don't know what I was thinking, but that's something that's very interesting, to think about, like how this explosion happened, right, when there's support. And that's going to lead me to the next question, with regards to support. The diversity, the people, they come together, unite, and that's how things flourish and prosper, you know?
Right.
Hex, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's not a right or wrong question. It's regarding support. Um, and I see this way too much because, I mean, all of you guys share your stuff on my platform, and I'm like, oh my God, well, that's great. I'm happy you guys do that. So when I take the opportunity to go to certain events, I observe. I don't say anything. I just like look. I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. I'm here. Whatever. But I noticed that there's so many events going on in the same night, back to back, and a lot of you know organizers and stuff. They have the same events on the same night, back to back,
Yeah.
and like for example, like there's like five people in a major city. It could be Miami, it could be Fence, it could be big shot organizers. They're all within like 5 mile radius, right? I'm just making these names up. You got John, you got Maria, you got Rashid, you got Kim, you got Joanna, right? So it's a
Right.
Saturday night, and they spend thousands of dollars, for the venue, the workshop, the DJs, and everything, right? So people like you and I and the public and whatever, we have to decide, like, which of these we're going to go to,
Right.
right? Because we want to give our support, right? I want to give
Right.
my support. We want to give our love. So I'm here at Eduardo's event. Let's say 22 minutes.
Mhm.
Then I take Uber and I go uptown to Maria's event. I hang out there for 2 hours, right? But then again, I don't want this guy to feel bad. So I hop on my bicycle, I go downtown, and I hang out with Rashid for maybe like 7 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. The night is almost over. I have to go uptown, take Uber. I got to go back here. I want to hang out with Jim until 4 o'clock. To make a long story short, by the time I get here, it's 5 a.m. I didn't get to dance with any hot chicks because I've been traveling all over trying to give my support and everything, which is there's nothing wrong with that because it's optional. But Monday morning comes, bro. Check this out. All of them are going over their finances, bookkeeping, and all of that good stuff. The revenues.
Yeah.
So each one of them realized that they dished out so much, but they only got maybe like less than 2% back. Like this guy dished out $9,000 for everything, and he had accumulated like $350. And they were dished out like, a couple thousand for her event, and she only got back like maybe like $300. And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the funny thing about this, next weekend comes again.
They do
Next
the
week
same
comes
thing.
again. Next month, next year, 10 years. The same thing going on. Maybe not the same five friends, but the same scenario. So
Are we
my
sure?
question to you is that if this was a perfect world, bro, if and how could I don't know, man. I mean, is this how could collaboration happen or to make life easier for them? And not really for me, but for them, because that's a waste of. I mean, when you think about it. I mean, when I think about it, it's like all that money I invest and only one, two, three, four people come up and not many people. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe it's not a money thing. So, just wanted your opinion on how the dance world can better support one another in a situation like that.
So so besides being a DJ, I'm also an organizer too. That I organize, my own events. Now, with organizers, sometimes, you know, if they're really good friends, they'll collaborate with one another. If they don't really talk, you know, and they're out for themselves, they'll just, create the same events and repeat the same pattern over and over and over again, right? Sometimes organizers will create an event to hurt another organizer, and it's the reality of things. Really what happens is that who loses? Everyone loses when things like that happen. And if there is no really collaboration, then everyone is like actually want to create a good event and actually want to work together to create a nice event that the community can enjoy. And um, and it's unfortunate because if a lot of organizers start talking, and start coordinating about like who does what on what weekends or what days, and then they support each other at other events, and then I would say they will create like a more cohesive community that everyone can, support each other. Um, in an ideal world, that'd be great. But there is a lot of organizers that, don't really get along with each other or they don't talk. I've like, for example, if I've experienced like organizers that threaten to kill my social for some reason, just because,
Really?
yeah, I've experienced that. Yeah, that they would say that they will create a party on the same night as mine and then kill mine. And I'm just doing my own thing.
Mhm.
Now, what I do with my events is that I bring people to my events to collaborate. So I collaborate with like James Solano, I collaborate with organizers in the Kizomba community, try to collaborate with also people in the Brazilian Zoo community. And James Solano is in the bachata community, so it's just like a way to collaborate with him and doing like bachata events. Um,
I love
you
James,
know,
by the way.
I love
Just so
James
you
too.
know,
Like he's such a great guy. Love him.
I love him. He shares postings a lot. The bachata radio stuff. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a
very passionate about it. He's very passionate about it, which I admired him for that.
yeah. I'm sorry. Continue what you. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, Matt. Finish what you're
And
saying. I'm
so
sorry.
I would think like, if organizers are, true intentions of just like really want to make things work in terms of like finances and stuff, like, you know, actually sit down with other organizers, have a like, honest discussion, and even if they don't like each other, at least try to work it out. Because if you're trying to like overlap events, then you know, in a city like let's say like South Florida, there's not much. There's not much. There's not much anybody is going to gain from it, and so
Okay.
I would think it would be beneficial if like everyone would just like actually like at least starting to work together just for a better um, you know a better relationship for the community because the community benefits from it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the community benefit, but I'm sorry. Yeah, while you're talking, I'm just analyzing. I mean, I keep going back. I'm sorry, man. I keep going back to Monday morning, and I'm trying to analyze. I mean, what's going on in their heads? I don't know. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing here, but what goes on in their head, knowing that, okay, just because I don't like this
Or
guy or whatever, I put him
there's
or you can or whatever, but you wasted my money.
right. I mean,
You know?
there's also there's like when you're organizing, there's like a financial risk involved in it, right? And then for people like me that are you know have uh, that can probably um, that I have other jobs, like I could probably absorb it. But
Okay.
you know it, it doesn't really help anybody in the long run. Like what they're going on in their heads, I'm not sure. I don't really have that discussions. I can make assumptions. I can make speculate, but it it's beneficial if just like everyone be able to talk to one another. If they have the intention
Mm,
to, right? Sometimes their intentions doesn't really match up what they say, and you know their intentions speak a lot louder than saying like, oh yeah, I want to collaborate with you, or it's it's the reality of organizing. um, and sometimes
okay.
like two organizers will have like events and they're overlapping each other, and then one will call the other and saying like, oh, what are you doing? And they'll come up for reasons why they're doing the event on the same day. It's what I've heard.
Yeah. I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking. I mean, back in the day, someone told me, back in the days, it used to be like, and this is wherever, this is not necessarily Florida. It's like all over the country. You run into your buddy at a coffee shop. I mean, he's an organizer just like you. And then you mentioned, you're being honest. You're like, I got this event coming up. And he's like, oh, really? And me too. But you know what? How about if I push my event? He offers to push his event
Yeah,
a week later
and
or a month later. And except that's
right.
back in the days, back in like back
I mean,
in
and
the
that
day.
that comes out of
Yeah.
like a courtesy and a respect. So, like for example, um, when I came back, from the post pandemic to start creating events again, there was an overlapping event, and that I chose a date, and I chose a date with my team. Like, all right, this is the day that we're coming back, and um, there was already an event that was already established, you know, on that day. And so I call the organizer up, and ask him like, "Hey, I'm just letting you know, I have an event. It's happening this day. Do you have a problem with me having an event on the same day?" like just to start up. And he said, no, I don't have a problem because eventually, things like that are going to happen. So go right ahead. And so we went forward. I went forward with it. He gave me his blessing. So the whole thing about like organizing is just to make sure that you don't really step on anybody's toes, that you are out there doing it with good intentions, for the benefit of your community, and also, if there's like if you're like involved with it, like finances wise, then you want to be sure that you just stay out of like people's way and just do you. I think I lost you.
Stand by. Oh, sorry. I just got like a internet uh, signal. Did you get that also on your screen? It says like
It just
oops.
kind of froze up a little bit, but
Like I don't know. I thought it was a Roswell thing. You know. I'm like, no, don't. I'm like, yo, bro, give me a few more minutes before you freeze on me. I'm always blaming him for everything. It's either my mom or him. I blame. If everything goes wrong. Yeah, okay, don't freeze on me, please. This is Hex. Okay, okay. But yeah, thanks for answering that question. I appreciate it. But and every time you guys respond, I always say, wow, there's so many ways to go around it, and yet, when I'm done with this interview, is going to happen again and again and again. It is what it is. But
it is what
um,
it is, and then just it's either like we learn from those mistakes and we try to do better, or repeat the same cycle over and over again. That's
anyway, I just want to say thank you for saying that. Kids, we're talking about kids. Um, um, when I was young, like super young,
hmm
um, my parents were like very, uh, stern, like most parents. And maybe I don't know if it's because they just came to this country and it's the '70s and whatever. So we lived like in a little tiny basement, one bedroom, all the brothers and sisters, mom, we all shared one bed and whatever. So my dad was always like, I said to my dad, like, whether you like it or not, you're gonna go to school. You get a bachelor's, you're gonna get a master's, you're gonna get a PhD. Well, I'm working on a PhD, so no dancing, no drawing, none of that. And that was that. No
yeah,
conversation. Deep down in my heart, for all of these years, Hex, I knew I always wanted to be a cool man who loved to bachata, right? But out of respect for my family, and it makes sense, right? Who wants to struggle, especially like big city, New York, and whatever. So I did what I had to do, did the legal stuff, did this, corporate, blah blah blah. But now, as old as I am, I'm finally doing something that I really want to do, right?
right,
I have this platform for you guys, so you guys can have the opportunity to teach and to learn and to help other people and to grow and to promote yourselves as well. My question to you is that times has changed. Kids are more rebellious. Kids will be like, "I'm leaving home," and whatever like that. A child comes up to you, they look at you in your face, and they say, "I want to become like you." You're the next Hex. I want to become even bigger. I want to take it to the next level. And no, maybe they're looking at it now. The audience that look at these stuff, it could be anyone and children. So
right,
this is gonna your response is gonna help the little ones that are looking at this. So he or she. So let me be fair. He or she comes to you and they say, X, I want. Oh, they're not say has. They say Mister Doctor, uh, Professor Ceballos. They're not going to say has. They know better not to say that. Okay, so they say, Professor, we really want to do this. Make this our career. No matter what it takes. And they're dead serious about it. But you also know that it doesn't work that way. You just don't. you know, DJ stuff doesn't come to you. You have to work at it, but you still got to still pay your bills, and you got this competition. And we just talked about, the collaboration that not many people come together nowadays. So all of these stuff, it, they will have to face, but they can't see their little ones. They're not there yet. So how can you not discourage them to what they really want to do, but still protect them while they make that decision? You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like a daddy question I'm asking.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
asking you, bro. So yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? You gonna say no? Go talk to Roswell? No, don't do that. I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you said about, your parents being stern, yeah, think about it, like especially with just like, losing an entire family. Usually the family would want what's best for you, and they don't never want you to see you struggle. They want you to be successful, be the best version that you can be, and being able to, financially uh, to support yourself and have stability, right? That is, I think that is the ultimate goal for any parent to a child, just for them to have that. Now, if let's say, uh, you know, a kid, a teenager, a child comes to me and asks me, that they want to pursue dancing or they want to pursue DJing, I would be honest with them. Is just like, for the first few years, you're going to be struggling. Like, are you prepared for that struggle? Because you're going to have to work hard every day. You have to be the master. You have to master your craft, no matter what, day by day. And you're gonna have bad days, and you're gonna have good days. And you know, are you prepared for that? Are you strong enough for that? Can you handle that? Maybe you could do that like in your off time while you have like another thing to be stable, and then work on that for your passion to be your career. Um, because you don't want to, if a kid comes to you with advice, you don't want to see them struggling, and you want them to be successful. And so you want to give them at least the safe advice for them, so they be able to put a meal on their table. So I would, not discourage them. I would say, if you're really serious about it, make sure you take the training, whether it's, being a dance instructor or is it being a DJ, you master your craft, you take everything that you know, everything that is about that industry, you know, and even take like small gigs if you can, or work at a studio, or work at a bar or a club or anything just to get your name out there, you know. And don't, and a very important thing is to not, um, don't stay stuck in one place or like one specific genre. Try to explore different avenues, because it'll be, at the end of the day, you'll be more powerful as a dancer and also as a DJ, because then you could be multi-talented in all those things.
Okay. Where were you, like, 1972 when I needed your answer? And everyone knows my age. Yes, I'm that old. But no, okay, no, I always like to ask that question because like back then. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, my parents are great. I think they're the greatest. My mom. But back then, it was a different generation. Normally kids just do what the parents say, no ifs, on about, no conversation. Not like kids have like
I think that's in any Latin household.
discussions with their parents now. But yeah, but kids have more
Yes,
opportunities
yes, they do.
nowadays. Remember, we don't. Back in our days, bro. Facebook, Instagram. Like Twitter. Like we didn't have options back in the '80s and the '90s and the '70s. We didn't have. We just did. You know, just do it. But kids have so many options, and sometimes they sometimes they're not getting the entire picture on life. Because they only see a little bit of what they want to see and stuff, and they think that this is how life is, based upon what's presented
Hmm.
to them. So I always like to bring that question up because maybe it could help a little one right now who's thinking about, dropping out of school or, taking his career to the next level, or maybe having a dual career or, three careers or whatever. So I just feel by doing these interviews is not only for promotion and making you guys look good and stuff and me look wonderful on camera, but it's to really help
Right.
those little ones who
And
really need
another thing
guidance.
that I would right, another thing
You
that I would
know?
also add is that no
Yeah.
one really has it figured it out. Like, especially around, if they're like 18, like you think you have it figured out, but you don't. You don't really have it figured out. You're always gonna always like doubt yourself. You're always gonna think, "Am I doing the right thing? Is this what I really want to do? Is this what I envision myself doing for the rest of my life until I retire? What do I really want to do? And you're always questioning. Like, I even question myself to this day, like 36. But,
Yeah.
you're always, you know, no one, you know, and I've had this discussion with like, because I also taught like high school students, like through dual enrollment, and the kids were good, and then some of them were, um, didn't have enough drive. They were just kind of expecting a grade to just be handed to them, just do the work, and that's it. But I tried to kind of like push them to do a little bit more of the work of like what I expect for them to be the best versions they can be, but when producing the work for the assignment. And I've had like discussions with one of them, what they want to do, and just like, you have time to figure it out, especially what you want to do, right? You're still in your teenager years, and you'll probably have like a good idea around like in your mid 20s, and travel a lot, live life as much as you can, because we spend a lot of the time like working, right, and
Mhm.
not really enjoying enough of it, like especially outdoors.
Mhm.
um, and being able to make connections with people, um, and just basically tell them like, take whenever you have an opportunity to live, make sure to live, because at least those are the memories you're going to be, cherishing the most.
True.
And yeah.
No. That's a good response. I was thinking, I got a great plan. How about this? Um, and maybe James Sedano can start. How I got a great idea for Cool Folks Love the Bachata. You guys are gonna love it. You just gave me a great idea, bro. I'm gonna have you guys do the internship guides for kids. That's not a bad idea. So check this out. So, for example, you teach in a day and but in the night you're DJ. So maybe we can have an internship program. The kids go with you. The kids go with you, right? You can give them credit because you're a good kid. You know, the kids go with you in the night. They want to know what it's like to be you, to do what you do. Someone in your class could be like, I don't know what it's like to do what you do. Professor. I mean, maybe I can hang out with you one night. And like when they hang out with you, they're not just sitting there and playing the music. You have them work. You have to be like, hey, you have to go through you have to you have to make sure this is okay. You have to check in with this. You have to go through the paperwork. I mean, you give them work to do, like a real you know. So they have a feeling and an understanding and an appreciation of what you do, and not only what you do, but similar to what other people do in your field. So I just thought about that. That would be so. So the next day, when they talk to you, if you ask them, "Hey, what's your thoughts?" Maybe their answer might be a little different. Maybe the little one, that example that I gave you, maybe the little one might be like, well, I don't know if because because they had the opportunity to see how the entire picture is. So I just thought about it. I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent in this interview, but I just thought about a way that cool folks love the bachata can really help the young ones. That's not a, so that's going to be my next posting. Internship program. I'm going to buddy it up. James is going to be with this one. Mark is going to be with this one. Pedro's going to be with this one. And I think the kids are going to love me for this. That's not a bad idea, but um, but I think and I know I'm being a little silly here, but in due respect, I think like the more knowledge, the more appreciation, the more a child see before they're actually tossed in there. Um, I think that that's good. And if they're with someone in that field, it could be dance, it could be arts, it could be legal, it could be medicine. When they're in that field and they have that experience, I think that
Mm.
could, you know,
I
better
mean,
their
definitely if they're like in the arts of dance and music production, or even like event production, like that if somebody is just like interested in producing those these types of events, then or be part of these types of events, then yeah, it would probably be beneficial for them, just to kind of explore. But when I started like in my dance journey, I never thought that I would be an organizer. I never thought that I would be a DJ. Like
Oh, okay.
I it just went into it, you know, just just out of a fluke. So, like in 2018 is when I started DJing, and I started at Miami Dance Festival, which was Evo Vieira's event in 2018. That was like the first festival that I ever DJed, and then I started to be a resident DJ for the Reef in South Beach, which was also ran by Evo.
Mm,
And that event was just like multi-genre, which was like we had salsa, bachata, zouk, and kizomba, and so we would like rotate the music, um,
mm,
yeah, basically of the people that we had. If we had like one genre more than the other, or if we had specific crowds, then we were catered to those crowds. Um, but at one point, like I thought, I was like, it was just like before I became a DJ. I was just like looking at the DJ that was playing. Didn't look too happy. Didn't look like he was enjoying himself. So I'm like, it seems like a miserable life. But why would I be a DJ? And then,
mm,
a year later, there I am, a DJ. But I actually have fun doing it. I have fun doing it. You know, never thought I would actually get into it. Never thought I would actually get into organizing, but I do have the most fun with it. And there was a moment, especially like in my I think my event 2 weeks ago, which was Wild Zouk, that we had DJ Kaka, we had Arthur, and then I had my team, Harvey and Carlito. Um, that was just standing there, just like taking it all in. I was just like, wow, like we made this happen, and everyone is having
mm,
a good time, and it just gives you like inspiration to just keep going and keep making events. In that event, I actually witnessed a lot of people that they were very self-conscious of them watching themselves dance. One person thought about quitting dancing. One person was very, not sure of themselves, seeing themselves dance, and one other person was just like questioning themselves on movements. And in that event, everyone had this sense of self empowerment that was very um, like very inspirational to actually see this. Just to see like, wow, everybody's like being empowered in this event, for them to actually be comfortable, dancing, and be comfortable being themselves, being their authentic selves. That we're bringing the best out of them. which is is something that I never thought I would witness, which I did, and it gave me hope for uh, to keep going.
Um, this hope to keep going, it makes me think of all the events that you've been in and you attended, you got invited. I mean, the Miami Cliffs, for example. Like we were just talking about that like a second ago. Miami Cliffs.
Yeah, yeah.
My name for this event. I didn't, as you know, I didn't get to go this year. But I did go in last year and the year before and whatever. So when the organizer calls you and they invite you to actually perform, like how do you feel, man? Like what when you what are big events, like Miami Cliff, for example, you get that phone call from the organizer and he's like, Hex, we would like you to come and perform and all of that stuff. Like, how do you feel? I'll take a guess. You probably be like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, good. But when you soak it in and you sit down at the ending of the day and it's like you're like, oh wow, I got invited to do this and stuff. Like, do you feel that you look back in your history and your track records and everything, you're like, oh wow, for someone to actually invite me, that means that they like me or not even that, but they respect me and there's a lot of connection and relationship that builds. So how do you feel knowing that you get invited to these big events and people trust you? How do you feel to know that people actually listen to you, they admire you, they're following you, and they like how do you feel? Like I'm just curious. I don't know how I feel because no one has ever invited me because I'm
I
not there
mean,
yet. So how do you feel?
the way that I feel about it is that I feel like, you know, fantastic. I get to be part of this event. I get to work with great people that are going to make this event happen.
Mhm.
And, and that's where I feel like I have to be on my A game. I have to make sure that, all my music is properly analyzed, my library is organized. And so, because I want to put on the best performance that I can do, especially when playing. I don't want to mess up. I want to be like the representation of the best Miami can really offer. And so for me,
Okay.
and especially as a native, like, especially as a Miami native, that I feel that, all right, it's time to prove, what Miami can do, what Miami can offer. And, uh, you know,
Okay.
all the hard work that I've been putting just to kind of, put on a good show.
Okay, enough said. That's fair enough. That's straight to the point, and but I always thought like it's whenever you guys get those big calls. And we're not talking about these little tiny little like one day, but we're talking about these big like this big event. It's like despite the pay, despite whatever money you guys get, but the thing is just is like an honor. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like to actually be invited, and even if you say no, which I mean,
Um, uh,
but the thing is that you get invited, and it's like people trust you, and they I
yeah.
don't know. I just think that's like the Oscar awards. It feels like yeah, I got it. A phone call. It was the same guy from a year ago. He loves me. The Oscar award goes to Hex. So I just find it fascinating. And when I read the announcements and the postings, and it's like, Hex is going to be there, or I'm going, or I'm DJing. I'm like, oh wow, and everyone knows. And, so that's a great accomplishment. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a great accomplishment when you guys get
Yeah, well, whenever we get hired
invited.
for festivals, it's definitely a different It's definitely a different environment and ambiance from like any local events, because in a local events like you can make mistakes. With big events it's very hard to make mistakes. Some people will notice, some people won't. And
Yeah.
so you really want to be in your best. You know, and sometimes it's very hard to
Great.
achieve your best, and mistakes do happen,
Mhm.
and you just have to like keep going.
Right, yes. Let me share one of your events here, bro. It's the one that's coming up
The 23rd,
September
this Saturday, yeah.
23rd. Yeah. My eyes are wandering, trust me. I'm not looking at your window. I'm just trying to. I'm looking at my screen to see where the posting is. I know you have. Okay, give me. Okay, I'm going to share it so everyone can see, and then you can tell everyone about it. Great. Okay. Check this out. This is a beautiful posting. I like you see the purple hex? How
Yeah.
the purple background slides directly into Central Nights, and I mean, there's you, there's James, and I like the pictures of the two artists. It's like so, you know, it's like so good. I'm a picture guy. I've always been fascinated with flyers and pictures, and so it's good. So, how much effort and work does it take to actually make something like this happen? I mean, like not the flyer itself, but for an event for this to actually kick off and you know scheduled and it's going to happen. Like, how much advanced planning would you say it would take to actually, you know, make an event like this
and an,
actually
ev-
happen?
an event like that to actually happen. So I usually like to plan like either a month ahead or 3 weeks ahead, for an event like that to happen. And so what's really like, if you're gonna have like, let's say, artists to actually teach a workshop, you have to at least coordinate with the artists to see what days that if they're available. And sometimes they're not available on that day, so but they might be available the following month, and so you have to coordinate with them. And so with my events, I only do like second Saturdays and fourth Saturdays. So I coordinate around those days of the event, those days that I put on events. Like I don't, like if they tell me that they're available on like the third weekend, I don't do an event on the third weekend. It's either second or fourth, because I want to respect other organizers' days that they have events. Um, I think if you want to, you know, do things correctly, of actually showing collaboration and working together, you start by demonstrating by action. And so just making sure that the artists are available. Of course, I'm available because I'm the organizer, and also making sure that James is available. So there's a lot of like pre-planning just to be sure that everyone is available, and
Mhm.
then coordinating with the venue where we're having the event to make sure that they're aware, like, hey, we have this party happening, um, you know, just so as a reminder, what we have agreed on. And in terms of the flyer, I pretty much design it myself. I do the flyer work.
I love the triangles, bro. I mean, like, I always wonder, like, how what goes on in your head, and when you guys designed this, like, this, the thoughts that goes, the creativity that goes on in your head to design this stuff. It's amazing. I mean, I like how it comes together. They got the two little triangles and the purple, and you got the hot
Mhm.
girl, the hot guy in the middle there. They're looking this way. So it's it's great. I like how it's done. Great.
Yeah, the part of this actually comes from like my architecture training, is that we're really big on graphics. And so we look a lot into like composition. We also look into a lot of just like colors, fonts, making sure like everything works. And so, when I create like certain flyers, I think about like what is the feel that I'm trying to convey for of that event? What is that I'm trying to want people to get from that flyer? And so, maybe neon lights, smoke, this club feel or this club atmosphere, right? Or just like a very chill vibe. It really depends on that moment that when I'm creating it.
It has a Miami feeling, a Miami look. I like it. And
The Miami
James came
look,
out
yeah.
great. Yeah. James is like he's. Tell Mr. Sedano I say he looks great in this flyer. I like this. Yeah, I like it. It came out great. Came out great.
Thank you.
Um, let me. Speaking of that, let me bring this up as well. Wait, you know, wait, let me bring this up as well. This is the one that I totally love here. Let me just show you. Let me just show you this. It's your main pitch. It's your main Facebook DJ Hex DJ Hex up with the glasses. You know,
Oh,
you
the picture,
got the Terminator.
yeah.
You know, don't mess with me. You know, you got that look. Don't mess with me, bro. Um, okay,
Yeah, that picture is it's like I think like 3 years old. Yeah.
I love it. The guy, I've never really seen you without your like when I look up your social media, I didn't really look for your face until I just as I just imagine you always with the glasses. So looking at you now and there, it's like you look more innocent here talking to you, but in the picture, like one of those New Yorkers, like don't you mess with me, it was like that tough look. But I
Yeah.
like it. So you also designed this, right? Yourself, like
Yes.
the background and the colors and
Yeah.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it. It's cool. Cool. All right.
Yeah, and so it's like the flyers. I definitely put in like a lot of work. I mean, I could hire somebody to do it, but it's like I think with like myself when I'm creating these things, you get like more of a feeling of what what you want the audience to convey whenever they see your flyer. You're more um, how to say involved with your event. Like in the creation process. That's how I kind of like to look at it because when you are putting these events, you're creating, you are orchestrating, you are organizing. It's just like um, you putting a plan in place so when things are in motion, it just like runs smoothly. Um, and so yeah, I look at this as just like part of the creation process when putting events together.
Yeah. I love how you did the hex stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I just noticed that. At first, I just saw the DJ Hex and what, but I'm thinking on it like,
Yeah.
Hex.
So
Okay, Hex
So
Hex.
the funny thing with this flyer was that uh, one of my team members, DJ Harvey, he actually like paid somebody to do like these personal flyers, and it was good, but then I decided let me redesign it for this year and then for future on, and so I started to tweak a little bit with the graphics, put in different fonts, different, the triangular shape to kind of
Right.
convey the event. And so that way, like the, I would say like the theme of the flyers carry on, that they're consistent and nothing is different, you know?
Yeah. The purple is so amazing. I can't believe I didn't come to any of your events when I was in Miami or something because I didn't really know you, I guess, or maybe I just. So I'm sure I've seen you like so many times, but the glass I didn't
I'm very
recognize.
underground.
Yeah, that's it. Underground, yeah. With
Very
yeah,
underground.
I love it. I love it. I love those shapes. I love those shapes. Okay, so you should really. Well, I'm thinking about it. You should like really be one of those like New York City GQ models on the side. You have that look. Heck with the academics. Heck with being super smart. You should be like maybe one of like DJ. Like Details magazine. Hex.
With the
Exactly.
shades
Brooklyn.
and a
Yeah.
nice suit.
Yeah. You're very photogenic, bro. Okay, so that's it. Let me. I'm trying to find. Like, I think that's it. I think we covered everything, right?
I think
Any.
so. You tell me. Like, what do you want to know?
I don't. Wait, we're gonna be here all night. Be careful. I don't know. I mean, no, you're cool. You're a nice guy, and uh, how? I mean, how do you want to? How do you want to lead this? Like, what's the takeaway you want? You want to take away or no? Or what's the no? No, seriously, what's the takeaway you want everyone to listen to? It can be like dancers, kids, organizers, family. My mom. My mom was in bed. But what's the final takeaway? I want remember. I want the reason I do these things. Again, it's not really publicity. As everyone knows, I don't I don't charge for these. I just do this, whatever.
Yeah.
I do it because I believe in helping people, right? I believe there's a different way we can help people. We can do legal, we can be a DJ, we can be a counselor. I believe if I go live with you guys, and out of 5 million people that's watching, if I make a difference to one person, whether to help them educationally, maybe financially, maybe they're thinking about ending their life. You don't know. Maybe a kid is like, oh, I just broke up with whatever. I think that's it. I'm going to end my life. Maybe by watching us talk, the kid might be like, wait a minute. No, I'm not going to leave this earth yet. There's so much more I can do based upon the interview Hex and Russell had. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I always like to help people, and I feel that this is another way cool folks who love the bachata can help the world, right?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Hex, Professor, how would you like to leave this? What are your final words?
My final words would be um, would be, you know, be true to yourself, be authentic with everyone. Uh, Remember the reasons why you're doing what you're doing, and be truth be truthful to yourself of why you're doing what you're doing, right? Like if you're a part of this industry, if you're part of this dance, like try to, you know, have that personal discussion with yourself and just like why are you doing what you're doing, you know. So maybe you'll come to that realization that you probably keep going or probably not, if you're happy, if you're not, um, and then try to always be the best version of yourself, or at least attempt to be, because no one is perfect. But you know, the attempts definitely go a long way.
Okay, enough said. You heard it from the professor, guys. You know, but but thank you so much, sir, for going live with me. And I'm so sorry if I was a little
Thank you for having me.
disoriented with the questions. As you know, everyone, yeah, I had a long day as always. Every day I have a long day, but no, but it was honored to have you come with me. And you wait. I just want everyone to know this guy is so typical. 2 minutes before 9 o'clock, I'm like, I might be a little late. He's like, yeah, whatever, whatever. And he just said, nope. He's chill. He's a chill guy. He just, he's like, yeah, that's fine. Let's take our time. Let's get our things together and blah blah
Hmm.
blah. So, so I appreciate your patience and everyone that has patience with me. To do this. I always imagine. I was just telling somebody today. If this was like actually one of those big like NBC, ABC, CBS, boy, I would. They would be charging halftime for all the time that I wait to get started. 9 o'clock. No, it's actually 10 o'clock. No, Roswell, you said 9 o'clock. No, I'm sorry.
Things
So,
happen. Things happen. No, nothing. We're running on Miami time.
yeah, Miami time. Yeah, Miami. Just was late. Like I remember when I was there, dancers used to like go out like
Yeah, they never arrive on time. They always show up whenever, like an hour, like either 30 minutes late or an hour late.
But it was great being here, and thank you for having patience with me. I invite you to New York. Um, I plan to come down south. Um, sometime like November, hang out in Georgia with my mom, my family, and then while I'm in Georgia, I'm gonna take these weekend getaways again, like to Miami and Orlando. Most like Orlando, because Orlando is not too far from Georgia. But when I do come to Miami, I'm not sure when during the winter, but I do plan. If I come, please let I hope I would like to see you. Come to give my support to you. And if you come to New York, let me know. Even if I'm not here, I would like to, mention you and introduce you to people up here that I know, and
Awesome.
make that connection. Feel free to continue posting your stuff, which you do, and I love them. Post them, and I guess that's it. I guess I'll see you and James and the rest of the crew, this winter. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, and
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Roswell. Pleasure
Have a good
speaking
night.
with you
And
too.
probably maybe next year when I do this again, you can come back and stuff. I'll try to be on time. Just I'll try. I can't promise. I'll try. But yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I
even
was
if you
very
can't, even if you can't, it's okay.
no, because you're very. I like people that that can see the perspective of the entire world, not just one thing, not just music, dance, and stuff. People with different perspectives and different experience, and you're one of them. You can see you can see a lot. You know, so that experience is very helpful to everyone. You know, but anyway, it's late. It's 11 o'clock, so bedtime. I think it's time for me to go to bed. Get my eight
Yeah.
hours sleep. You know. All right, have a good night, bro. Take care.
Good night.